No, you never really know. You see someone coming to shul, and they start praying at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. What's your knee-jerk reaction when it's not you? You think that guy's a bum.
They're an actor.
They're an actor.
Or real estate.
And there's club. They don't. Everyone has their own reaction of what that is. Somebody comes to shul today about midday, and he's like, "I wish I could hear the Torah reading today." My first reaction was, "Buddy, we had a 6:15, we had an 8:15, we had a 9:15, we probably had a 10:15. Come on, you could have heard the Torah reading before." That's my first thought was. Then he's like, "Let me tell you." I agreed, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and I gave him a hug. He said, "Rabbi, I needed a hug today. I'm talking about my dear friend Nisano Isaacs. Nisano, what happened this morning?" Nisano said to me something unbelievable, something which is very relevant to the time we're in now. Nisano said he was driving, and he saw a black woman lying on the floor, and this bulldog, was biting her, and what'd you do? What would you do? I wish I would say that I'm scared of dogs too. I wish I would say I would.
Walking or driving?
He was driving. He stopped his car. He pulled the dog away from her. He wrestled with the dog. He held the dog down for 20 minutes, holding the dog down, till the owner comes out. "Hey, how did my dog get out?" And that's not the story. That's just for the Californians among us who want to blame somebody. Anyways, but the story really is that this guy he risked his life to save this woman, and he really saved her life, And a lot of people around the world are not a lot. The whole world centered on the Jewish people these days. Everyone's talking about the Jewish people. Some are anti-Semitism, and some with philo-Semitism. But the Jewish people are the center stage, and according to all streams of Judaism, we're at the time of Mashiach. We're at the time when the whole world will serve Hashem, and will recognize the Jewish people as our central, the primacy of our people. So I wanted to think about that tonight together, about our role now at the last generation, the exile, the first generation of Mashiach, and how that plays out in these last moments before Mashiach comes. There's a lot of energy in this week's Torah portion. It doesn't seem that way, but if you read between the lines, this Torah portion is the most lively and most amazing Torah portion of the entire Torah, in my opinion. You have all the Jewish people coming together to build a tabernacle. Everyone's coming together. Everyone's building, finally, this structure that God had asked us to build. Everyone's coming with their wool and their diamonds and their silver and their copper, and we're finally making the tabernacle for Hashem. It's so exciting. You could see the pure hearts of everyone coming together, excited we're doing something for Hashem. Actually, the Talmud comments and says that the tabernacle will never be destroyed because something that's created by pure hearts of people, something people put their pure hearts into, Hashem has a hard time letting go of. Since people put their heart, Talmud says that.
There is I saw an article, they found the tabernacle.
They found the tabernacle.
From satellite, with special sensor, they found the tabernacle. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
But it says Mashiach will come, Hashem says, "I will dwell in the tabernacle again." Not only will it exist, Hashem says He will also dwell in the tabernacle, even though the main place would seem the third base of Mikdash, tabernacle will also be significant. Anyway, so in this large Torah portion, it's interesting. Every Torah portion has a mnemonic for how many verses there are in it, and this Torah portion is the only one that doesn't have a mnemonic. Usually, at the end of any Torah portion, it has 2 or 3 words, and say the number of these words equals the number of verses. This one doesn't, and everyone's commented that it's likely that it does have one, and the printer took it out because he misinterpreted what the mnemonic was. What was the mnemonic? Ein bo simon. Ein bo simon means it does not have a sign. But that is the mnemonic. The mnemonic is if the numerical equivalent of the words ein bo, there is not. If you add up those words, you have the many verses of the Torah portion. That's the sign. So sometimes, as we'll discuss tonight, Sometimes not seeing a sign is actually a much bigger sign. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So there's a very boring verse in this week's Torah portion. It seems very boring, it seems very technical, very like heavy, and yet this verse has a secret of the coming Mashiach and the secret of who we are and where we're supposed to be. Let's say this: rabbis don't always have it easy. People are always looking at rabbis very critically, looking over their shoulder, and wondering, are they really being faithful to the people, not being faithful? And you know what? The first rabbi had this problem. I'm in good company. Thank you very much. Moses, the first one, had this problem. Why I have his namesake. And Moses was accused by many Jews of stealing from the collection for the tabernacle. Can you imagine? Imagine seeing the man who split the Reed Sea, brought the manna bread from heaven, brought the blood and the frogs and the hail, and everyone's like, this guy's pocketing stuff. So much gold, so much silver, so much copper. Okay? So Moses says, guys, let's wait till we finish the tabernacle. Once we finish, I will give you a clear accounting of everything. Everything, guys. You heard everything? You right? You with me? Okay. That was okay. At the end of the thing, at the end of the tabernacle is built, Moses is like, okay, I'm going to tell you what I did with everything. Here's the silver, here's the gold, here's the copper. But then there's, as we say in the Hebrew, there's a fashla. There's a mess up. What's the mess up? There's 1,775 shekel that are missing. And then everyone's like, 1,075, where'd you go? There was missing 1,775 shekel. And Moses is at a loss for words, which makes him even more suspect by everybody. Now, in the Torah's tune, there's some verses that you have like the whole community to sing along with, to the chagrin of the Torah reader, because it gets them confused. And one of them is in this week's Torah portion, because there's a tune to a very high note that's not usually in the beginning of a verse, and it comes at the beginning of a verse like a shocker. I'm talking about the Azla Geresh. Azla Geresh. So there is Moses is with the people, and then there is this. They're looking at him. Where is the 1,775? And Moses is like, Vesa Elef. I know where the 1,775 is. And what was it? What was it used for? It was used for the hooks to fasten the curtains to the pillars. That's what it was. All right. That's this on the surface. The story in the 6th Torah. That's what that verse is. Very, very simple verse solution to the issue. But the question is, how is it possible that Moses didn't remember? Why didn't he remember? He remembered everything else he remembered. What's the meaning of not remembering these 1,775? What does that mean? Why didn't he remember? And why did he suddenly remember? What took it away and what brought it back? So to understand this, we have to talk a little bit more about Jews. What's the Hebrew word for Jews? Yisrael. Yisrael is named our people. What is Yisrael? Yisrael is an acronym for the words. There are 600,000 Jews. Yesh shishim ribi oisis la Torah. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah, and every Jew has a letter in the Torah that they correspond to. The problem is, you can count the number of Jews in the world, there's millions of Jews, not just 600,000. If you just count the Jews alive today, if you count the Jews alive in history, you have hundreds of millions of Jews. So what does it mean there's 600,000 Jews? So the answer is, there are 600,000 sort of mother souls, bigger souls. And one soul could animate more than one person. A second person, a third person, a husband and wife are considered two halves of one soul. So we have this concept of one soul animating more than one person. So, but here's the funny thing. This week, the Torah gives a list of all of the half coins that everybody gave to build the tabernacle. In order to count the Jews, God said, don't count the Jews directly, don't count them directly. What you do, everyone's going to give a half coin and count the half coins. Okay, so how many half coins do you think there were altogether?
As many as were missing.
There were 603,550. 1 second. Aren't there 600,000 Jews? Isn't the Jewish people connected to the 600,000 letters of the Torah? What happened? What's the 3,550 extra over there? Where did those Jews come from? So let's understand what the word letter in the Torah is. When someone becomes decorated in the army in Israel, they're given an ot. Ot means a sign. A sign means that there's something that's inside them, and this medal that they get signifies that they're special. They did something special. Rabbi Shmuel got decorated a couple of honors in the army. Baruch Hashem is a modest guy. But tell us one of them. What's in one of them? Okay, don't tell him. Okay, no problem. So that's the idea of a oath. A oath means that you're decorated. There's something else inside of you. So a Jew, what's our sign? What tells us who we are? The Torah. Every soul is connected to one letter of the Torah, and that's our sign. That's why it's important. If anyone hasn't gotten one yet, it's important to buy a letter in the Torah. It's more important to buy a letter in the Torah. Your letter in the Torah connects you to the Torah and to your soul, especially children, as the Rabbi said that by having a letter in the Torah means great protection to all of our people everywhere. It's a very, very important thing. So as Yosef Javdan could tell you how important it is, he's in a campaign that every Jewish child in California should get a letter in the Torah. Anyways, so there's a letter in the Torah that everyone's connected to, and the 3,550 Jews that were not included in the title of the Jewish people, the Chassam Sefer says their souls were covered with layers and layers of darkness, of klippas noiga, darkness which let some light go through, and that's why they weren't noticed. Let me say it this way. It says about Betzalel. Betzalel was the one who was entrusted by the Torah, lachshev machshavos. You know what lachshev machshavos means? To think thoughts. He was meant to look at the tabernacle to figure it out. Lachshev machshavos. The Chassidic masters explain that Betzalel will look at everybody's donation. They would say, David Cohen gave 14 million gold coins. He's giving it from the heart. Put them straight into the Holy of Holies. Then there's this guy 11. I don't know. We're going to do this. let's put this somewhere in a brick somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, so everyone's donation, Betzalel was connecting their hearts, their feelings, their thoughts were where it belongs in the temple. So when Moses was looking at the temple, he didn't just see temple, he didn't just see altar, he didn't just see menorah. He saw the soul of each person in their gift in the particular place in the temple where it was. So you're looking at the altar and he's seeing there's Yankel and Shmedel and Beryl and Laser. This is what there's I don't remember what the guy's title is. There's a guy very high up in the administration right now, and when his father brought him to the Rebbe when he was a child, he brought the Rebbe a big thing of charity, a big tzedakah box, and the Rebbe sent a message to his father after. It was very unusual. I saw the excitement that your son had in bringing this gift of coins that he had from his tzedakah box. It shows like the purity of a child. This guy's like somewhere in the treasury, like he's like way up there. If I said his name, you guys would recognize it. I just don't remember. Anyways, so what about the guys who weren't like? No, not him. Anyways, what about the guys who weren't so deserving? So Moses couldn't see them. Moses didn't see them because Moses' whole essence is Torah. And he saw a Jew through the prism of Torah.
So deserving of what? I'm sorry.
Let me explain it this way, Yosef. Everybody is their mitzvah, right? You have your mitzvah is everyone's got to learn the Torah. That's your mitzvah. Marcus has his mitzvah. Hi, Marcus. Marcus is alive. He has his mitzvah. Everyone has their mitzvah, the way they connect. Everyone has their thing. The Jews who the extra 3,550 Jews, they're the ones who you don't see their connection to Torah. You don't see their connection. You don't see any specific mitzvah that makes them alive. You don't see it. Doesn't mean they don't have it. It's not noticed. So Moses doesn't see, but then all of a sudden he is reminded and he does see. What does he see? Where were those 3,550 half coins, which means 1,775 coins used for? They were used for the hooks. The hooks. Are the hooks part of the tabernacle? Not really. They're just fasteners. They'll put the curtains on the pillars. They're not really part of it. And Moses remembered, no, that's part of it too. That's there. I see them also. I see them too. Why did he suddenly notice them? So the Megala Amukos, he was a great Kabbalist, lived a few hundred years ago, Rav Nata Shapiro. He says that the soul of Rabbi Akiva told Moses, where that 1775 was. He didn't know it himself. Rabbi Akiva came and told him about it. Why Rabbi Akiva of all people? Other commentaries say Moses suddenly saw the letter Vav. Like, the letter Vav. That reminded him. But why Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva lived a long time later in history. Why is suddenly Rabbi Akiva arriving now, telling Moses about these vavs, about these hooks? What does this mean? So let's go a little bit back in the story of Rabbi Akiva. Yeah, if you haven't read the story of Rabbi Akiva properly, you owe it to yourself to read that story. It just gives you the whole perspective of what Rabbi Akiva, when he was at first ignorant to Torah, he told his students, while I was ignorant to Torah, if I would meet a Torah scholar, I would want to bite him like a donkey. So his students are like, why not like a dog? Why like a donkey? He says, because a donkey doesn't leave bones. I want to bite them, and they shouldn't leave bones, which means I don't just hate what they do. I don't just hate what they represent. I hate them to their core. That's what Akiva said. And yet, Rabbi Akiva, he himself became the greatest of the Torah scholars. He lived for 120 years. At the age of 40 is when he began studying Torah, and then 40 years he studied Torah, and 40 years led the Jewish people, and all the mission, all the oral Torah, the Talmud says, comes from Rabbi Akiva. So this Rabbi Akiva, what's the word Akiva mean? Akiva means heel. Akef. The Avos Rav Nosson, not to be confused with Greek mythology, calls the heel the angel of death within the person, because the heel is a part we don't see any life inside the heel. And yet Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva is the one who reveals the depth of the soul. Because Rabbi Akiva himself had this issue himself. He himself was somebody who hated Torah and everything it represented, and yet, he hated Torah scholars. I would bite them, I would kill them. That's what he said. I bite them like a donkey.
I know some people in Israel.
They would also bite Jews like donkeys. All right, let's not talk about them right now. But let's actually talk about them. Because we're got here where we're going. Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva, the Talmud says that Moses was shown by God the future, because Moses asked God a question that forced God to give Moses an answer of the future. It was a long time ago, so it's probably a VHS version of the future. If anyone remembers what that is. Anyways, Moses asked God, what's the purpose of the crowns of the letters? In the Torah, there are letters, and upon each letter, there's a little very thin, like Zion-shaped, like lines on top of on many letters. He's like, God, why did you do that? He saw God like making each letter, like, he said, what is that? What is that for? God told Moses, I want you to know that at the end of many generations, there'll be a man named Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva will discover, I'll call koitz v'koitz, on every single koitz. Koitz means a crown. A koitz could also mean a thorn, because it's shaped like a thorn. These crowns are shaped like thorns. On every thorn, he will derive mounds and mounds of laws. What was God telling Moses? There are some Jews, their connection to Judaism is to be a thorn to Judaism. That you don't see any connection. On the contrary, you see how they're not just apathetic, but they're against Torah. They hate it. And Akiva, because of his own experience, was able to discover and reveal al kol koitz koitz, and those Jews who are not just apathetic, but they're antagonistic, he's able to reveal in them their connection to Torah. That's why you find Rabbi Akiva a fascinating thing. Rabbi Akiva, he interpreted every vav in the Torah. Vav means and. Rabbi Akiva was the one who, just a connecting letter. Rabbi Akiva discovered the meaning of every connecting letter in the Torah. Why was he the one discovering the vavs? Why was he the one discovering the koitz and the thorns of the Torah? Because that's who he was. He himself was a thorn to the Torah at one point, and that's why he was able to realize this is the way everyone is. I'm the way everyone is. He knew that about himself. He knew it from his own personal experience. There was a Belzer Chassid. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. That's a different discussion. But he went for a business meeting to a restaurant with a non-Jew, and it doesn't seem like it was a kosher restaurant. That's the way the story is told. It's really not supposed to do that. Anyways, they're in this restaurant, kosher or not, and the non-Jew takes off his hat, and his yarmulke, the non-Jew's yarmulke, falls into the soup. And this Belzer Chassid, he's like, what's that? Like, it wasn't a kafia or something. This was the yarmulke. Like, what's this yarmulke? Why are you wearing a kippah? He's, funny thing, he says. I was walking in the Diamond District, and these two young yeshiva students came over to me, and they asked me to put on tefillin. I'm like, okay. And I'm not even Jewish, they put on tefillin. Mm-hmm. And the Belzer Chassid thinks to himself, wow, I'm going to have a field day with this. I'm going to go to shul. and I'm going to have a field day. And so we're going to talk about these Chabad boys put on tefillin on a goy, and they put a yarmulke on him, no less, and his yarmulke fell in the soup. I'm going to have a field day. Then the non-Jew's like, yeah, but I'm not Jewish. But no funny thing, my grandmother was Jewish. And he's like, really? Your grandmother was Jewish? Which grandmother? Oh, my mother's mother. So he actually, this Belzer Chassid, he went into the Chabad house and he banged on the bima. He says, I need to apologize to you guys. There's something, he didn't think there was anything meaningful, but he realized how much holiness there was in this activity. Anyways, there's a Jew, his name was Don Eisenblatt. You may have heard this story before. It sounds like one of those stories that have like far, I just heard the story. Don Eisenblatt invites this guy from the Kotel to come to his house for dinner. And this guy looked like he wasn't so into Judaism. By the way, one of our members of our show was wearing a blue yarmulke walking in the alley. I could have sworn he was an Arab. Anyways, I don't know, the sun, the way he looked, his eyes. Anyways, moving right along. So this guy looked like a blue kafir or something. I'm also colorblind. But anyways, moving along. So Don Eisenblatt invites this guy to his house, and the guy is enjoying the meal, but he looks a little bit like out of it. So he wants to like spark his interest. He said, tell me, do you know any Jewish songs? Let's sing your song. I don't know any Jewish songs. Well, you were in the synagogue tonight. Any songs you like tonight? Well, actually, there's one song I like tonight. Which song do you like? I don't know. So the guy starts singing all the songs of Friday night davening. And he gets L'Chadedi. This one, I like this one. He finishes the L'Chadedi, he sings the whole L'Chadedi, from L'Chadedi to Bay V'Shalim. The guy's like, do it again. Do it again. And he's like, okay, I'll do it again. You know the guy who says do it again and again and again, doesn't stop saying do it again? One Shabbos, speaking of VHS, my oldest son managed to get the VHS to play Uncle Maishi the entire Shabbos. I will not listen to Uncle Maishi anymore. Anyways, so this guy, he is he's asking for L'Chadedi 9 times in a row. And the host by this time is a little bit curious about this guy's identity. You know, I guess at the Kotel, people are more free to invite people, but finally after his 9th time of L'Chadedi, he's like, by the way, what's your name? My name is Mohammed Ben Jamil. Mohammed Ben Jamil. What a nice boychik name, you know? Like, sounds just like Yankel and Shmerel, right? So he's like, what brings you here? He said, listen, when I was little, I grew up in, Ramallah. Grew up in Ramallah. And I always had this affinity to Jews. I like Jews. And my father told me the Jews are bad. I didn't know why the Jews are so bad. And one time, I asked him more than once. One time I was like nudging him, like, why are you so anti-Jews? Why do Jews bother you so much? So I said to my father, don't seem like they're so bad. Why do they bother you? My father got so angry at me, he kicked me out of the house. So my father went to work. I went back to the house, and I took some of my stuff, and I saw my mother, and I said, Mom, what's the thing about Jews? Why does everyone hate the Jews so much? What do they do? My mother said to me that the truth is that I'm Jewish. And she showed him her passport, her Israeli birth certificate, and she said, listen, I'm already older, but you have hope. You are Jewish according to Torah, according to Judaism, you're Jewish, and you should look into this. Anyway, so his mother gave him her birth certificate, and she also gave him a picture of her great-grandparents. The picture was of his great-grandparents visiting a cemetery. So the host, Don Eisenblatt, asks this guy, can I see the picture? Can I see your documents? It was Friday night, he had them. He shows him the documents, he shows him the picture, and he sees this elderly couple. And where's the elderly couple? The elderly couple is by a cemetery. They're looking at the tombstone of a certain Shlomo Alkabetz. Who is Shlomo Alkabetz? The author of L'Chadedi. This guy was attracted not just to a God and to Judaism, he's attracted to his grandfather's nigun, his grandfather's song. This is Al Kol Koitz V'Koitz, and every thorn. You ask them, campus Chabad rabbis today, you ask them, what do you guys do to inspire your young people? One friend of mine is like, someone asked him, do you like do events like in honor of Israel? He said, the only thing that my students will come to that has to do with Israel is BDS. God forbid. Make a BDS demonstration, then they'll come to join it. That's the only thing they like. A lot of very confused Jews out there. And so Rabbi Akiva, he interpreted the letter Vav in every single part of the Torah, telling us that even the Jew who's like a thorn, Jew who seems no connection, he revealed the connection to him. But the truth is, it's not just about the Jews. The Alter Rebbe said, this verse of the 1,775 shekels has to do with the time of Mashiach. So that means that this is the time not to look at people the way they are externally, but to realize that they're Jewish and that they have same exact soul as you. But it also means something else. Everybody has some mitzvahs they love, some mitzvahs that are more like thorn-like. Which are the bigger ones? Today on the way to school, I do carpool, and there was a very sincere discussion between these teenage girls about mitzvahs. One teacher told us that the most important mitzvahs are the ones that we hate. And when we hate them, we don't like them, we push ourselves. And she asked, but isn't it better to do a mitzvah with love and happiness? Isn't it better to be excited about a mitzvah? Imagine your mother tells you to prepare the table for Shabbos. Prepare the table for Shabbos. Then your mother says to you, I want you to bang on the table 10 times. The 10 is too symmetrical. Bang on the table 23 times. Where do you see more of the honor of the daughter to her mother? When she sets the table for Shabbos, when she bangs on the table? On the surface, it's more meaningful, huh?
More meaningful to set up the table.
More meaningful to set up the table. But on the other hand, why is she setting up the table? For Shabbos, not just because of her mother. What she's doing has meaning. Why is she banging on the table? Only because of her mother. So it's possible to do a mitzvah because you feel a certain affinity to it, because you like it, because it makes sense to you, because it talks to you, because it speaks to you, because you're used to it. That's one way of doing a mitzvah. It just happened now in Israel. I don't remember the details. But there was one soldier who was very into, he took on upon himself, it's something that everyone's careful about, everyone should be, to wash his fingertips before Birchat Hamazon. It's important before you say grace afternoons to wash your fingertips. This soldier took this on himself. Now, it's not so hard for us to just walk over the sink and big deal. And yet, some people have a hard time with it. Anyway, so this soldier took this on himself. He's with his friends, he's with his other soldiers, he's eating, and he wants to do, just need a tiny bit of water to do it. There's no water left. He gets up. The moment he gets up, there's this bomb that hits the base, and other soldiers were wounded, and he was unscathed because he took the mitzvah that was for him a thorn mitzvah. The many stories like that. So let me tell you, let me just get one more line and let you guys go. There is a prophecy of the coming Mashiach in the Torah. What does the Torah say about, what does the Torah describe the coming Mashiach? Ekev Tishmun. Mashiach will come at Ekev. What's Ekev mean? We learned about Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva means, what does the word Akiva mean? The heel, the bottom. So Mashiach will come to who? To the Jews who are in the lowest of levels. But not just that. It says that there are some mitzvahs that we trample underfoot. There are mitzvahs we like, there's some mitzvahs we step on. Chas v'shalom. Why do we step on them? Because we don't get them. So the Torah says, when will Mashiach come? Mashiach will come when you take those mitzvahs, the mitzvahs that you don't have any affinity to, and you devote yourself to a mitzvah like that. That brings those are game changer mitzvahs. Those are the game changer mitzvahs. Why? Because in those mitzvahs you see a connection to Hashem. Not that you shouldn't have joy in the mitzvah. Of course you should have joy in the mitzvahs, but joy because of the connection to Hashem. Not just because it's easy to have joy because of the Shabbos meal, because it tastes good, right? But then there is experiencing the Eibishter, experiencing connection to Hashem, and you experience it a little bit more in a mitzvah. You don't see the value of the mitzvah. You see more your connection. So, bottom line is, my dear friends, we're at the end of the exile, and there are a lot of Jews. Ein boy siman. You don't see any sign at their connection to Hashem. But this is just like this Torah portion is chazak. It's the end of the whole book of Shemais. It's Pekudei. It's the end of the whole book. And what's the end of the exile? It's the Ein Boy Siman. It's the sign of the Jews that don't have signs. And in ourselves, the mitzvahs that we don't see any sign, any connection to, those are the game changer ones. We have to pay attention to them. L'chaim, l'chaim, Rav.
There's a guy, he wanted to go to work, but he went out, went to the bus